Speaking of trash, and my goodness, Rob, there is a major beef going on that has captivated the NBA world and Twitter and Instagram and all that. Kwame Brown versus everybody. You seen those shirts? Me versus everybody, or God versus everybody, or whatever.
Well, it came from Detroit versus everybody. That's where
okay.
Was that
the first one?
Yeah,
okay.
That was the first one.
Now it's Kwame Brown versus everybody. He's going after Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, Gilbert Arenas, Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless. I mean,
Shannon Sharp.
Has he gone after Shannon too?
Yeah, Shannon.
Rob G, how did this start?
Well, this all started a few weeks ago. Jeannie Buss was on the All the Smoke podcast with Steven Jackson, Captain Jack, and Matt Barnes. They were talking about the Pau Gasol trade, and she mentions, well, hey, people forget we had to give up Marc Gasol in that trade and Kwame Brown. And Matt Barnes makes like a snide remark. No, you really just give up Marc Gasol. You didn't give up Kwame Brown. That's nothing to talk about. Well, the following week, I think maybe in the very next episode even, Gilbert Arenas is on there, and he starts talking about Kwame Brown. He goes into this long soliloquy about how Kwame Brown was very physically talented, but, lost his confidence.
He said Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan basically broke him. Yeah, right. And that's what happened. So Kwame Brown, who has been silent, I think, since 2003,
since he left the game, right?
Whatever, decided he wasn't going to take it anymore. So he went off on Instagram Live, and he I'll just give you a quick summary of some of the highlights that he said in several videos.
It's like 30 minutes long.
Yeah,
it was like an hour and a half.
There's Instagram Live videos. Yeah. There's YouTube videos. There's a lot of stuff.
The one I saw was 30 minutes.
Kwame gonna make himself some money.
He should get a podcast.
he knows what he's doing.
So here we go. So just a quick summary of some of the things that he said. He insinuated that Gilbert Arenas is the reason why he didn't get an $80 million contract extension after he left Washington. And he also called him the whitest black boy I've ever known.
Wow.
Matt Barnes, he calls him Becky with the good hair and insinuated that he should be more worried about keeping women than keeping his name in his mouth.
Yeah. Now, he's, Rob, I don't know if you see, he has gotten personal.
Yes. Now again, I'm cleaning this up as much as possible, America. If you haven't heard the clips, it's a lot worse. He said Steven Jackson is a fake activist.
And fake thug
who makes all of his money tearing down other black men, even though he claims to be a Black Lives Matter activist. He said he's going to slap Stephen A. Smith so hard on the back of his head, he's going to look like he has a toupee covering up his big forehead.
Oh, you laughing, Rob?
Thankfully, Skip and Shannon didn't get too much.
Yeah, Skip didn't get much heat.
It wasn't as bad as those ones, but it gets really dark if you were to go ahead and listen. I've heard people say he cracked a lot of jokes, but nothing he said was funny because it was all very personal and very direct.
It's no jokes. Look, it's just right.
Right. I'm going to say, and I don't mean scared for my personal safety. I got nothing to do with this. All right. But it's scary in that Kwame looks like he really ready to bust some heads. I mean, he's talking stuff. I mean, he goes all in on Matt Barnes' personal life. Derek Fisher took your woman. Like, he's just going all in. He's calling Jack a fake thug. You ain't all that. I saw Charles Oakley make you cry. Like, he talking about, I mean, he is going hard at dudes. We heard what he said about Stephen A. He looks like he's ready to erupt on somebody.
Well, let me say
and that's what I mean. I'm like, look, this thing, and hopefully these dudes never see each other, or if they do, they kiss and make up and it's all good. But the last thing I would want to see is this get crazy. And now, Kwame's looking like he ready to go crazy.
And you got there's two schools of thought. I feel bad for him. He's been beat up for a long time, Chris, the butt of jokes. You know that, Kwame Brown.
I agree with you.
Okay,
yes.
So he's been beat up for a long time, and I guess there's a tipping point. And remember, like players at one time, Chris, what was it? They were criticizing us when we said something, the writers or the analysts.
Right.
Now you got players who are now in these chairs. Now they got a problem with them, remember? Chris,
remember Kendrick Perkins and Durant. Durant went after Perk.
Right. It used to be about us because we didn't play. We're jealous of them, Chris, right? That's what they were saying. Now you got guys who played and know the ins and outs and putting stuff out there and ripping each other, and now they got a problem. I feel bad from the standpoint of, yes, he's been beat up for a long time, but you just can't get to the point where you let it. And maybe Chris, is this bullying? Am I missing it? Maybe
you mean bullying him?
Yeah,
he was bullied.
Is.
I mean, Michael Jordan, just was hard on him. I don't. I
told you
this.
That's
bullying,
what
but Jordan
the
was
Pistons
hard on
said
him.
the same thing with Larry Brown did that to Darko.
Right.
The same exact
thing. And then Kwame goes to LA and he's got to deal with Kobe,
right,
who was tough on guys.
Who was another guy, right? Yeah.
And we saw in The Last Dance, Jordan's mentality was, I'm going to make you. I'm going to test you, right, as a teammate. And if you break, so be it. You ain't built for this, right? If I can break you, then you're not going to help us in the championship. You're not going to help us in the playoffs. So you need to be gone. And if you survive it and toughen up, then great. You will be able to help us, and I'll embrace you with open arms. And according to Arenas, and we've heard for years around the league, covering the league, that Jordan was tough on Kwame and really took his confidence. But I'm with you, Rob, in that Kwame Brown has been so beaten down.
Right.
Years. He has been the poster boy for number one pick bust. And look, of course, as a number one pick, he didn't live up to his billing by any stretch of the imagination. But he became a serviceable NBA player. I mean, he started, basically half his career, 6 points, 6.5 points, 5.5 rebounds for his career. I'm telling you, and this is showing right now, players told me, Kwame, that boy is country strong. I don't think dudes want to mess with him. I mean, he was viewed as a tough dude. At least that's what players told me.
Right.
He wasn't a great player, but he was tough. And to be honest, that 2001 draft when he was number one, you had a lot of dudes that didn't pan out at the top of that draft. Yep. Tyson Chandler was second, who had a nice career. Pau Gasol was third, obviously Hall of Famer. Eddie Curry, he didn't live up to his billing. Jason Richardson did. Shane Battier. Eddie Griffin, seventh pick. He's dead now. Sagana Diop. It was a lot of guys. But you also had some really good players come out of there. Joe Johnson, Richard Jefferson. But yeah, Kwame, man, he's just like, I ain't taking it no more. You know what I mean, Rob?
Yeah, it's sad, and I'm sure to live with that and have to get beat up on because his name is out there a lot.
Yeah, he's angry.
He's the punchline, but some of the same stuff that he's talking about though is what he's doing. You know what I mean? I always get a kick out of that.
Right, he's going at dudes now. He's going at dudes' heads. Worse. And that's the thing. I wish he wouldn't get personal like that.
Right,
that's what I mean.
Right.
He looks like he's ready to throw down.